In keeping with the spirit of the occasion, let's not call this headline "One Big Fat Lie," the biggest we've seen in a very long time. Let's call it what polite people call lies. Let's just say it's disingenuous. Here's a story about somebody they're calling a commuter. Commuter is somebody who uses a train to go to and from work. How do they know this guy's going to and from work? Now they're trying to elevate him. Maybe he doesn't deserve it. He punches a man in a SPAT on the Blue Line in Chicago. This is from the Chicago Sun-Times just a day or two ago. You're going to see the video, brief video of this in a minute. But it's not a spat. When a black person comes up behind a white person, punches it in the face, knocks him out, knocks him down. When he's down, keeps hitting them, and then at the end of that little series of events, that's when he tries to push him onto the train tracks. That's a spat, according to the Chicago Sun-Times. Doesn't get more disingenuous than that. Let's take a look at that video.
I'll beat your ass too. Hey! Oh, what you gonna do with your fat ass? Yeah. Stop playing, man. Just like we like this shit. Yo, why every motherfucker gotta get some fight and you call the police on me too? Oh, yo!
Fuck you know this one. Call another motherfucker a nigga, bitch. Call another motherfucker a nigga. Fuck wrong shit. Fuck out.
Let's go from Chicago up to Philadelphia. Just a night or two ago, some guy identified as a real estate developer was out with a couple of his buddies leaving dinner. They're in a car. Somehow there was some kind of traffic jam, and he gets out of the car, and all of a sudden they're talking, arguing. The black person riding a bicycle. Next thing we know, the white guy is stabbed in the back and he dies. Was that a spat? Was that a spat too? Anybody else seeing a pattern here? Now we're going to see in a minute that the family here that sends him off, the family, he was raised in a non-violent family, good boy, went to Morgan State University, a black college. Now we're going to learn all about that. Set your stop. You can set your clock by this. How many days will it be until the family starts saying the same thing about this successful young businessman as they said about this guy who was almost killed on the train tracks in Chicago?
NBC 10's Randy Gyllenhaal is live at police headquarters this morning. And Randy, what do we know about this suspect?
Dre, this suspect is a 20-year-old college student, goes to Morgan State in Maryland, but his family says he was working as a bicycle food delivery driver when this confrontation happened near Rittenhouse Square. Now, last night he turned himself in to Philadelphia police through a local church with his family by his side. His name is Michael White. Crying family members hugged him and prayed with him before he was handed off to homicide detectives. His family tells NBC 10 he's remorseful about what happened, but they say he is not an inherently violent person. Now, police say White, who was riding that bicycle, was involved in some sort of argument near Rittenhouse Square with three men who were in a car. Police say that argument turned into a fight. It appears to be over traffic congestion in that area. It escalated, and police say that suspect pulled out a large knife, stabbing the victim in the back, then running away until turning himself in last night.
I asked him to surrender. He said that he did not want his family to go through anything having to do with him. I don't know any circumstances of the case, but I do know that he is not a violent person.
Police say the victim, Sean Schellinger, was stabbed in the back during that heated argument. Schellinger was a well-known real estate developer. He had just left a nearby restaurant in Rittenhouse Square. He was in the car with two other friends when police say this confrontation happened. Now, people who knew Sean say he was loyal and dedicated to making Philadelphia a better place.
Guy that loves the city so much that he's not leaving. He's passionate about making it better, and to have, all the potential that he had to help the city kind of, rubbed out in one night is crazy.
Relatives of Michael White say he was delivering food on his bike last night when he encountered 37-year-old real estate developer Sean Skellinger and two other men who were having a dispute with a driver of a vehicle blocking their car from getting through Chancellor near 17th Street. White's relatives claim the men were heavily intoxicated and turned on him as he was trying to get through.
From there, my cousin was spat on and in his face, and it was a difficult situation for my cousin to walk away from. He felt like he was being racially targeted by these individuals who wanted to start a fight.
So police are still investigating this case. No charges have been listed yet. They obviously want to interview that suspect. We asked the suspect's family if he would claim self-defense in this case. At this point, all they will say is that he comes from a non-violent family.
Okay, we have to say a word about the guy, real estate developer, and his friends. His friend said the real estate developer loved Philly so much he wanted to stay around and help it. He wanted to do what nobody else was doing, which is when you have a choice, you leave that city because it's a dark and dangerous chocolate city where the people running the city, they care more about the criminals than they do about the victims. And they show that every time. So how long is it going to be before we start learning more about that? But how long will it be in Philly before we stop hearing these stories of white family people victimized, killed by young black men for no damn reason whatsoever? And when you talk to the family of the people left behind, all we hear is that he was this white person was a nice family person. He believed in Philly. He thought it was a great place to live, even if you had to spend all of your life ignoring this enormous level of black on white hostility and violence that you can see on the streets every day and in the media every day if you know how to look for it. But looking for it on the street, calling it out on the streets, calling it out on the media, that's a good way in Philly to make the black kids angry.